This is The Big Divide.
The Big Divide.
I have a topic that I want to talk about. Everybody's thinking about it right now, and it's filling the Supreme Court seat. But I want to take a slightly different perspective on it.
Okay.
And the perspective I want to take on it is this, and here's my position, and I'll lay this out here. It won't take you 10 minutes to figure out that I'm a political conservative, and it shouldn't take you long to figure out that I'm a political junkie as well. I really get lost in the news, and I try to keep up with things.
I am too. I'm just going to say this because you said it. I am now. I never was until it became this interesting, to be honest with you. And you everybody on the line here can attest when I do meetings, because I do a lot of meetings, we talk a lot of real estate and business. I do a lot of meetings where I let the audience know, look, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm educated, right? Like, these guys are all battling. There's two mobs battling for control of something of our lives. But now these days, there's a lot going on. I think there's a lot at stake. Right now.
Oh, there's a ton at stake.
Ton at stake too, right? So now I'm paying attention. I don't know if that comes with age, or if it comes with just awareness, or it comes because the guy in the White House was fingers crossed, kind of like, what is going on with this? I mean,
awareness and age may come together. I don't know. One may inform the other, but there certainly is a lot going on. So, with regard to the Supreme Court vacancy and filling it, we hear everybody's spin on it, and I understand why the Dems don't want to do it, and they're making this argument about what the Republicans did when Merrick Garland was nominated and the way they held up the vote, and we can have those arguments all day long, but I'd like to render it down to something that is so clear, so simple. Take a look at the Constitution. Article 2, Section 2 clearly lays out, and in fact, Joe Biden himself laid it out so clearly the other day. He said, let the people speak. The people elect a president. The president nominates somebody for the Senate to consider and consent. Let the system play out. Well, I've got news for everybody. The president was duly elected in 2016, like him or not, and I'm okay if you don't like him. And he's got a nominee.
I'm okay. Here's he did not win the popular vote. What do you answer? What's your answer?
Well, so what? That's not how we elect presidents.
That's right. That's my answer. I'm like, well, for 200, I mean, if they made that rule early, then we would count. But right now, here's how baseball's played.
Well, exactly. And this is what confuses the conversation so much. Somebody will bring that up, and it's completely irrelevant. You want to have a debate over the Electoral College? Let's have a debate over that.
But I'll be honest, guys. I mean, I thought that was the way it's supposed to work.
What, popular vote?
I didn't know that until recently.
Okay, so if you're playing, listen, you've lost every game. I think the rule, you can't steal bases in this game. Oh no, they're going to score on you, right? So if you don't understand the game and understand the rules, then you're not playing the same game.
Right. That's just like if you only know how to play checkers, but you're trying to play chess, you're not playing with the same rules. You're not playing the same game.
No, you're not playing with the same understanding. The rules are always the same, right? Yeah. Your understanding's off. And the problem is people are blaming the system. They're like, well, here's the problem. The problem is not popular vote. It should be popular vote. And they're like, look, let's just deal with the rules that are out. If you want to change rules, there's lots of ways to do that, right? But right now, what we have is what we have.
In fact, I think a debate over the Electoral College would be a great topic. We could do an entire show on that. But as it stands today, the Electoral College is what elects the president. Donald Trump was duly elected, and he's going to put a nominee before the Senate, and they're going to approve or disapprove the nominee. It looks at this point like they will approve because they control the Senate. Yeah. And for the record, the Democrats did put a nominee, Merrick Garland, in front of the Senate, but the problem was the problem for the Democrats was that the Republicans controlled the Senate and they delayed the vote, which was their legal right to do. Now, you can take issue with that, but let's just render it down to, as I like the way you put it, Scooty, the rule book. The rule book is the Constitution of the United States, and it's so clear. The nomination should go forward, and then the Senate should decide to advance the nominee or not, and then that'll be based on the politics. But that's my way in on it. There's everything else is irrelevant. It's just noise.
I think that inside that rule book, so we go back and the argument is, Merrick Garland didn't get even a vote or consideration. It's only because, again, it's where it was split. The guy who ran the Senate, which was Mitch McConnell, says, look, the Senate's got one view and the executives got another view. And here's what he said. He goes, we're not going to see that. And then I think he made it up this past time when they said we're going to consider Trump's nominee. People are like, well, you said an election year. No, he said, like, we're split right now, and because we're split, it doesn't favor the nominee. It doesn't.
Hey, and listen, one more point, if I may, because this is significant. I will call down the Republicans, and I'm a registered Republican, but I identify as a conservative, not a Republican. And the Republicans are making the argument that we control the Senate, therefore we can put it forward. Irrelevant. That has no bearing on it. So the fact that there's a different party in control in the Senate as in the executive is completely irrelevant. The Constitution doesn't address that at all. It says that the president has an obligation to put the nominee forward.
Yeah.
And then let the Senate deal with it. So
right, exactly. So Barack got a chance to do that, and then the argument was, well, it's an election year. We don't have to hear it because we're a different party. We're going to let the voters decide after the election what they want. And in my world, and this is my answer to every one of my friends that say something, I'm like, and they won, right? So America decided that the executive would be GOP and the Senate would be GOP back in 2016, and technically even the Congress was GOP. So that to be honest with you, this is another topic that should have sent a message to the Democrats, right? That I don't even think they've even rectified, to be honest with you.
They haven't.
I think they've gotten even worse. I mean, they've gone emotionally off the rails. I think that my conservative friends are technically more logical than my Democratic friends right now. They're very emotional, right? They're reacting to things emotionally, whereas I think my and I'll probably get grilled on the website over this, but I think that if I got to look down on all my friends, the emotional ones are the ones that are so angry, and then my concerns are like, well, let's talk about that, and they're like, I don't want to talk, I want to scream. Crazy.
Well, because that'll solve everything, right?
Exactly. I want to add a point onto that. Okay, the emotions, right, with the Supreme Court justice. The left is pushing the narrative of her last dying wish, which has nothing to do with the United States Constitution. He has a right to nominate the next Supreme Court justice because it's in the Constitution. But they're running the narrative about feelings, her last dying wish. And that's the difference, feeling over fact, right? That's where we're at right now.
Hey, I want to emphasize a point that you just made, Will. Yeah. He has an obligation to do that. That's a constitutional obligation. Yes. That's his job. It's not just a right. It's an obligation.
So technically the people that put him in said, hey, we hired you to do this. You better do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has been The Big Divide. Don't forget to subscribe for your weekly dose of unfiltered and unapologetic conversation.
Done and done.
Do you have a question, topic, or opinion that you want to hear discussed? Go to BigDivideShow.com and tell us all about it.
Or simply look up Big Divide on Instagram or Facebook and send us a message.